Thank you. Good morning, council members. My name is Robert Becker. I'm a 40-year career emergency management professional. I currently serve as the chair of the Hawaii County Fire Commission, and I'm here today to support the fire department's 2019 budget request. And thank you for the opportunity to make a statement today. During the period from 2010 to 2017, the county population increased by 8.3%, and the department's emergency call volume increased 20.6%. During this time, salary increases mandated by collective bargaining agreements have been included in available funding, although the related associated costs for contract-required overtime has not been matched, resulting in an overall lowering of actual funds available for salary. Funding for non-salary costs has also decreased significantly over this 2010 to 2017 period. Over 85% of the department's budget goes to salary costs, leaving very little discretion within the internal departmental budget process. If it weren't for grants that the department actively pursues and is awarded, the department's ability to safely and efficiently serve the public would be severely hampered. You are all aware of the department's budget requests, so I won't go through it point by point, but I do want to highlight 4 of the requests as listed in the 2017 Hawaii Fire Commission report. First is increased funding to staff Paradise Park, Ocean View, Waikoloa, and Lapahoihoi fire stations to meet the National Fire Protection Association minimum staffing requirements for the safety of the public and the firefighters. Support the department vehicle replacement initiative by providing funding for the innovative lease purchase replacement apparatus program. Third, to support the funding request for required hazardous materials response and safety equipment training in Ocean Safety Division. And finally, support the department's request to create and fund 5 additional Fire Prevention Inspector 1 positions to meet National Fire Protection Association's 1730 standard workload and inspection requirements created by increasing businesses in Hawaii County. These funding requests are very important for the department to meet the needs of an expanding population and an evolving prevention and response profile. They aren't fluff. Nobody likes to pay taxes, but public safety has to be the #1 budget priority. Public safety has to be funded at a level that provides the superior service the public deserves. Those of us who have spent a lifetime in public service serve the community to the best of our ability each and every day. And for the department's firefighters to perform safely, efficiently each and every day, they need the proper tools and staffing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Becker. Proceed whenever you're ready, Chief.
I just wanted to start with just a brief overview of the fire department, and it's more to just give the community a little bit more information. As we go out in the community, the question always comes up, why we don't have this, how come we cannot get that? And it's really to let the people know how hard our county is working at trying to provide the services that it does island-wide as far as a county. And starting with the presentation this morning on the public testimony, that was the chairman of the fire commissioner, Robert Becker, who gave you folks some valuable information on items the fire commission had presented to me to try to move the department forward, what they viewed as issues that had to be addressed. And it paralleled along with our budget submittals for the previous 7 years, as well as our supplemental budget request, which I'll go into a little bit later. But I did want to bring up that, in comparison, this county has always been about doing more with less. And I just wanted to assure our community that when it comes to the value of the dollar put forward, I have to say that our county, I can only speak for the fire department because I've only researched fire department services across the state. But in comparison, you've seen that our department budget is approximately $48 million, but please keep in mind that $16 million of that comes from state EMS and another $500,000 for the Hapuna contract. So today we're approaching you to basically talk about the remaining $30 million that is funded through the county. So the County of Hawaii funds the Hawaii Fire Department with approximately $30 million. The Hawaii Fire Department operates 20 career fire stations, and we have 529 paid positions throughout the department. This includes fire personnel, which includes our EMS personnel, ocean safety, as well as our support staff, meaning office staff and some of all the associated positions. In comparison, moving westward, The Maui Fire Department has an annual budget submitted this year of $43 million. And I'm using estimates, not estimates, I'm rounding it off. And this is straight off of their county websites and their budget presentations. So the Maui Fire Department has an operating budget of $43 million. They operate 14 stations. But keep in mind, they do have a geographical challenge of the Tri-Island. So they operate 10 stations on the island of Maui, 3 on the island of Molokai, and 1 on Lanai. The Honolulu Fire Department operates 45 fire stations. They have about 1,100 employees, so double of ours. Their operating budget for the fire department alone, and they only do fire services. They do not do ocean safety or EMS. Let me step back. Maui also does ocean safety. Maui does fire and ocean safety. Honolulu Fire Department's annual operating budget submitted for this year is $135 million for 1,100 employees, 45 stations. The Kauai Fire Department has $32 million operating budget for 8 stations. So we are the most cost-effective fire department across the state. Regarding our call volumes, I was unable to get information as far as each fire department's call. I can get that information. I just erred in getting it prior to my presentation. But if we look at the statewide PSAP numbers, and a PSAP is a public safety answering point. So when you call 911, that point where your call first comes in. So I'm actually going to help out our police department here a little bit. So for the PSAP centers across the 4 counties, Oahu averages about 1 million calls to the PSAP per year. Maui averages about 135,000 calls to the PSAP. Kauai averages about 52,000, and Hawaii County averages 210,000. We average about 25,000 calls for the fire service here in Hawaii County alone. So greater than 175,000 calls goes for other services, which generally falls into the police department, and general questions that may come into your 911 center that may not be emergencies here and there, because you'll be quite surprised who calls 911 for varying degrees of questions there. But when you look at call volumes coming in, amount of stations, and the amount of the budget is we are doing way more for way less. And that goes, I want to publicly state I'm so proud of the men and women of our fire department that every day continue to do their job day in and day out. And I'm very proud of that. Our budget is what it is because we are not in a rich county, no doubt about it. We have spent a great deal of time meeting with the finance department, specifically the budget personnel, also meeting with the mayor, the managing director, and our various department heads as well. So I'm fully knowledgeable of the difficult roads ahead for the budget as a whole. And I want to say publicly, I'm very grateful for the items in our budget that continuously is being approved and funded. But do we need help? Yes, like every department there. And it is my understanding that the March 1st budget is really based on the actual numbers that we have now. But what's outstanding is the unknown as the TAT and various other funding sources. So as we move closer to May, I look forward to working with the Department of Finance, you folks as needed, and the Mayor's office to just see what we can and cannot do as far as growing the department. As the chairman of the Fire Commission alluded to, that basically we're in a standstill. There is no growth. But also the mayor also alluded to that without increasing the budgets or increasing services, there really is no growth that can move forward to the county. And it's no fault to anyone other than in the county that we live in. But I wanted to assure the public that as far as the fire department, every single day the men and women come to work and they do their awesome best to provide the services that we do. And we'll continue to fight hard for our training and our equipment needs. But I'm very grateful for what we had. So just in closing in this, I just want to look forward to talking about some of the items that the commission chair brought up. And keep in mind, I'm not appointed by the mayor, I'm appointed by the fire commission. but I answer to the mayor, I answer to the fire commission, and I also answer to the council, and I answer to the public of Hawaii County. So we try to do the best we can across the whole board there. So the commission has its goals. It has its future needs, as well as the department. The mayor does, so does the council, and also so does the public. So we try to bring all that together to try to look at what's best and what's a priority of our needs. So one of the things we'll be working on with the budget area, the finance budget director, is maintaining our apparatus replacement program. And as I've alluded to in the past, apparatus replacement, we're asking for something that's going to be delivered in 2020. It takes over a year for an apparatus to be built. So what we need in this current budget is just a line item that identifies the next two apparatus, which is targeted to replace the Kailua Kona engine and the Lapoihoi engine. Lapoihoi specifically, it's a beautiful apparatus, but it's going to reach its national standard for age, which is 25 years. We cannot have it as a frontline apparatus. The Kailua rig is a hard run rig. It goes out quite a bit throughout the day. And our apparatus replacement program has been very, very successful. I thank finance, I thank the mayors, and also thank you folks for supporting that. The funding for the next two apparatus will come from the funding that's already in our budget that you'll see in that line items, because two of the trucks will drop off this year. They'll be fully paid for this year. And then if the funding remains in there, that'll start the process for the payments for the next two trucks. If the gods look upon us quite well and we get this extreme amount of funding that comes across the county, I mean, obviously we have to start chipping away at our deficiency in our station's manpowers, as well as a critical element is hazardous materials response equipment. We did apply for grants. We just were notified that the grant was turned down for funding to the AFG. So that is something we're going to have to look at and work with finance to try to pay for a couple of those items that are required as part of our OSHA requirements for hazardous materials response. Another item that came up is our air truck, but an air compressor that fills our self-contained breathing apparatus. Our last unit has failed, but you know it's lived beyond its life expectancy. It's over 15 years old. We had 3 units, and slowly they started to deteriorate. But we also applied for a grant for that, along with the Honolulu Fire Department as a regional grant. We also was notified recently that that grant wasn't approved, so that's something we'll have to work at, coming this year or next year. But what we're trying to do is just chip away at all of those things that are required and slowly move the department forward. But I look forward to any of your questions, and I thank all you folks for your support. I thank the mayor, and I thank the Department of Finance and our procurement officers for their support as well. So.